Did you have a rough 2024? If you're spending the last day moping about a bad year, spare a thought for Boeing. The US aviation giant, 2024 was perhaps their worst year on record, full of turbulence. In January, a Boeing plane had a gaping hole mid-air. The reason was missing bolts. In March, their CEO, Dave Calhoun, stepped down, leaving the company leaderless in a year full of challenges. In June, their space business suffered setbacks. Boeing Starliner capsule malfunctioned, leaving 2 astronauts stuck in space. They had gone up for 10 days. It's been nearly 8 months, and they're still there. In July, the company pleaded guilty to fraud conspiracy. This was related to 2 plane crashes, the fatal 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019. Then in September, Boeing workers went on strike. The company lost $5.5 billion. This strike continued for 7 weeks. And to end the year on a tragic note, on 29 December, a Jeju airplane crashed in South Korea. 179 people were killed. This too was a Boeing plane. Apparently, it faced some landing gear issues. The investigation is still underway. But the big picture looks quite bleak. 2024 was a nightmare for Boeing. And what lies ahead could be worse. Because it's not just plane crashes. Boeing is dealing with a collapse of trust. Back in the day, it was the gold standard for aviation. There was a saying, if it ain't Boeing, I ain't going. This is a company that changed the way we fly. Yet 3 deadly crashes, multiple accidents, safety lapses, and zero accountability later, Boeing is now a dreaded name, so much so that people do not want to fly a Boeing plane. Which brings us to the question, what options do you have? Can you, as a consumer, choose to not fly Boeing? The answer is no. And I'll tell you why. You see, the aviation industry is a duopoly. That means there are only 2 major players, Boeing and Airbus. Together, they control over 90% of the commercial market, more than 90%. That means no matter what flight you take, it's either a Boeing or an Airbus. And why is it a duopoly? Because building planes is tough. It's not like making cars or phones. It requires billions of dollars in R&D, research and development. It requires decades of experience and relationships with governments and airlines that span generations. So the entry barriers in this industry are very high. It's nearly impossible for new competitors to join the fray. Although there are some new players emerging. In Brazil, Embraer is gaining ground with its regional jets. They're known for reliability and innovation. In China, Comac is making waves with its C919 aircraft, which is designed to compete directly with Boeing and Airbus. It's already being deployed in domestic flights, but these companies still focus on smaller markets. For long-haul flights, it's still a duopoly, and Airbus alone cannot keep up with the demand. Take this year, for example. Airbus has a backlog of nearly 8,700 planes that it needs to deliver to airlines, 8,700. And these are existing orders. So while Airbus may revel in Boeing's failure, it cannot meet the demand for Boeing's planes. As for Boeing, it won't shut shop anytime soon. There may be regulatory trouble. But here's the thing that will make sure that Boeing stays afloat. The money they spend on lobbying. It's a well-known practice. Boeing lobbies hard in Washington. It shares a relationship with U.S. lawmakers. It has strong ties with the U.S. Congress, and it uses this to avoid oversight measures or regulatory scrutiny over its safety plans. Which brings us back to you, the consumer. What can you do? Well, first of all, be informed. Before booking a flight, check which aircraft it is, and you can do this. Most airlines display this information online. If they don't, you can ask for it. Second, raise your voice. Demand transparency and accountability. Companies like Boeing need to feel the pressure from their customers. And third, explore other options if you can. When flying regionally, you could consider carriers that use non-Boeing fleets, especially in Asia and Latin America. I know it does not sound like too much, but this is all that you can do as a customer. Ideally, avoiding a Boeing plane should not be your responsibility. It is the job of governments and regulatory bodies. They must ensure the safety of passengers. Can they do that in the new year? You won't be holding our breath for it.